Unbelievable connection. Young girl's touching wish exposed an amazing billionaire's life-changing journey. Emma sat cross-legged on the floor of her small bedroom, crayon in hand, her brow furrowed in deep concentration. The sun streamed through her window, spotlighting the dust dancing in the golden light. "Dear Mr. Carter," she began, spilling her heart onto the paper. "I wish you could be my superhero." It felt like a simple wish, laden with hope, that would summon the strength to rescue her family from the shadow of unrelenting hardship. With her dad deployed overseas and memories of laughter fading with the empty chair at dinner, Emma longed for a miracle. As she folded the letter, her fingers trembled. And so, the unimaginable began. Little did she know, her words would pierce the heart of James Carter, the town's reclusive billionaire, inspiring him to reconnect with the very roots he had abandoned. The day he received her letter was an unusual one. James had been caught in the monotony of board meetings and stock reports, surrounded by glassy skyscrapers that seemed to isolate him from the world below. When he unfolded the worn paper, a wave of nostalgia washed over him, stirring long-forgotten memories of the laughter of children playing in the streets. Was it really possible that a 10-year-old girl held the potential to awaken the buried desire for connection within him? As he read on, each line unveiled Emma's innocence and palpable hope. It tugged at something deep inside, a longing for community and kindness that his wealth had stifled. That night, fueled by Emma's simple bravery, James made a decision. He would return to the town he once called home. The journey back was bittersweet. He'd lived away from the warmth of tight-knit friendships for too long. The very fabric of the town had changed, too. Rows of abandoned shops mixed with shiny new buildings seemed to echo the growing divide, the faces of families showing the strains of economic hardship. But Emma's glow remained unwavering. Their newfound friendship blossomed over shared ice cream on the town square, and little by little, James learned the meaning of being part of a community again. But just as life felt bright and full of promise, turbulence loomed just under the surface. One evening, Emma could barely catch her breath when her mother broke the news. They were staring down eviction. Emma felt a knot tighten in her chest, the devastating feeling of losing the only home she'd ever known. The weight of her mother's despair was unbearable. In stark contrast stood James, offering a lifeline. But would his money sever the threads of trust they'd woven together? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the tension thickened, Emma's heart raced. She had to make a choice: accept help from someone she was growing to see as a true friend, or risk everything to safeguard the connection they had nurtured. Would James embrace the messy complexity of community, or would his past dictate their futures? Uncertainty hung heavily in the air, leaving Emma and the readers perched on a precipice of hope and despair. Would this unexpected friendship withstand the tests thrown in their path, or would the weight of financial burdens suffocate the light they discovered together? Emma's dreams were often clouded by worry. Sleep was elusive as thoughts of eviction spiraled through her mind like a storm. The flickering light of her nightstand lamp cast soft shadows, but it couldn't chase away the darkness creeping into her heart. She clutched her stuffed bunny, an attempt at comfort, but the fabric felt colder than the uncertainty surrounding her family. The days blurred together, but one afternoon stood out when she met James at the park. The sun beamed overhead, and a gentle breeze danced through the leaves. But Emma felt heavier than usual, burdened by the knowledge of her family's growing crisis. When she spotted James approaching, a flicker of warmth ignited within her. What would she say? Did she dare share her fear, or would it push him away? "Hey, Emma." James greeted, his smile genuine, eyes bright with interest. He settled onto the bench beside her, his presence immediately easing some weight off her small shoulders. "Hi, Mr. Carter," she replied, forcing a smile. Her voice trailed off as nervousness surged like the tide. The unspoken words tangled inside her, pressing against her tight throat. "What's on your mind?" he asked, tilting his head slightly. A simple inquiry, but there was a sincerity in his tone that made her resolve waver. Taking a deep breath, Emma decided to be brave. I don't want to lose my home. The truth spilled out, raw and unfiltered. Her wide blue eyes filled with tears as she continued, my mom says we might have to move, and I'm scared. James's expression shifted from cheerful to serious in an instant. He leaned closer, his voice filled with compassion. Emma, I know it's scary. But you're not alone in this. Have you talked to your mom about it? I don't want to worry her more, she whispered, biting her lip. The shame of her fear felt overwhelming. James paused, contemplating the gravity of her words. You know, sometimes it's okay to lean on others. That's how a community works to hold each other up, he said, an earnestness in his voice. Emma nodded, but doubt still gnawed at her. Would he think less of her for needing help? Would he use his wealth to save them, or would it create a gap between them? As their conversation unfolded, James revealed snippets of his own childhood, the struggles and joys woven into his past. It was these shared experiences that drew them closer, lighting a mutual understanding. Even superheroes need help sometimes, he told her, a hint of a smile returning. Just remember, you don't have to carry this alone. Not everyone knows how to ask for help, but it's a strength when you do. Slowly, the storm inside Emma began to quiet. She felt brave enough to consider his words. What if, just this once, she opened up her world a little more? Maybe I could ask my mom about talking to you, she said, the idea both thrilling and terrifying. James's face lit up with hope. I'd do like that. And whatever happens next, we'll figure it out together. Determination mingled with anxiety in her heart. Could their bond survive the looming eviction? Could she trust him enough with her fears and her family's future? While uncertainty still loomed like distant thunder, Emma felt a flicker of optimism. Maybe this was the beginning of something bigger than either of them could imagine. As they sat quietly, a newfound courage blossoming between them, an unexpected sound interrupted their moment. A loud crash echoed from a nearby alley. Emma's eyes widened in surprise, while James instinctively stood up, tension knotting his brows. What was that? Emma asked, her pulse racing. I don't know, James replied, scanning the area. Let us go check it out. Right then, the air filled with adrenaline and uncertainty. What awaited them around the corner? Emma couldn't shake the feeling that their lives were about to change, just like the wild turn of fate that brought them together. Emma's heart raced as she followed James's lead. He walked with purpose, his movements confident yet cautious. The stray sound from the alley still echoed in her mind, a crash, followed by the unsettling silence that had fallen between them. She struggled to keep up, her small legs working to match his longer strides. The alley was narrow and shadowy, a stark contrast to the warmth of the park. Brick walls loomed on either side, graffiti tagging the surfaces with vibrant colors that felt out of place in the pressing gloom. As they neared the origin of the noise, Emma held her breath. The uncertainty loomed larger, not just from the alley's ambience, but from the dizzying reality that her decision to confide in James was spiraling into something she couldn't predict. What do you think it was? Emma whispered, her voice muffled by anxiety. Could be anything, James replied, glancing at her with a reassuring smile. Just stay close to me. As they turned the corner, Emma's eyes widened. A dumpster lay on its side, garbage strewn across the pavement. An overturned crate of eggs lay cracked open, their yellow yolks shining in the dim light. It was a chaotic scene, but nothing that seemed dangerous. Then she noticed movement. A small kitten was pawing at an egg, intrigued by the slippery mess. It was dirty and thin, its fur matted and gray, but those big green eyes shone with curiosity. Emma's heart softened instantly. Oh, poor thing, she said, stepping closer. James followed her gaze, his expression shifting from concern to compassion. Looks like it could use some help, he said, kneeling beside the kitten, who was now cautiously approaching. Hey there, little buddy. He reached out slowly, letting the kitten sniff his fingers before gently stroking its head. Emma knelt next to him, her worries temporarily forgotten. It's so small, she murmured. Do you think it's okay? James turned to her, a thoughtful look on his face. It doesn't look like it has a home. We should take it somewhere safe. Excitement and determination bubbled inside her. Can we take it home? Mom would let us keep it. A trace of worry shadowed James's eyes. Your mom's going through a lot right now. What if she's not ready for another responsibility? Emma felt a pang of sadness. But it's just a little kitten. It needs us. James considered her words, his fingers still gently brushing the kitten's fur. You're right, maybe it could bring some joy to her, too. Sometimes small things can help, you know. Emma nodded, hope filling her heart. With James beside her, it seemed possible. Okay, let us help it. As they lifted the kitten soft and fragile, like a new thread in their story, Emma realized this moment was pivotal. It symbolized an unexpected connection not only to James but to something deeper within herself. The possibility of love and care lit up her spirit as they sparked a plan together. Let us find a box or something to carry it back, James suggested, glancing around. Just then, he spotted a small cardboard box abandoned by the dumpster. Perfect. Emma's heart warmed as they carefully placed the frightened kitten inside. You're going to be okay, she whispered softly, almost as if she were speaking to herself. With the kitten secured, they started back towards the park. What should we name it? Emma mused, glancing over at James, whose playful smile was back. How about Sunny? Emma giggled at the thought. Because it's all dark, but inside it's ready to shine. Exactly. Sunny it is, he said, grinning as they walked. As they reached the park's edge, her pulse quickened again, not from fear this time, but from a flicker of hope. They were doing something together, facing challenges, and this could mean a chance for family and friendship to rebuild. But just as they were about to turn the corner back onto the main street, Emma's phone buzzed in her pocket. She froze, her heart dropping. What if it was her mom? What if the message changed everything? She hesitated, the weight of the world flooding back in an instant. Could she balance the hope she felt with the daunting reality that loomed over them? With the kitten nestled safely in the box, Emma turned to James, a knot forming in her stomach. What awaited her in that message? Would it be more uncertainty, or maybe the start of a new chapter altogether? Emma took a deep breath, her fingertips trembling against the cool surface of her phone. She glanced at James, who watched her with a mix of anticipation and concern. The moment felt heavy, suspended in the air between them like a fragile thread. Maybe it's nothing, James suggested, trying to inject some positivity into the moment. But Emma knew that the unknown could shatter hope in an instant. Or maybe it's everything, she replied softly, a glance at the curious kitten who seemed to sense her unease, its wide green eyes reflecting vulnerability. Gingerly, Emma tapped her screen to unlock her phone. The message flashed at her, bright and urgent. A text from her mom. Her heart raced as she opened it, her mind swirling with possibilities. Emma, we need to talk. Can you come home? Her stomach twisted. Those words carried weight, a chill that clawed its way up to her throat. I think it's about the bills or something, she stammered, her voice catching. Maybe she's just stressed. Let us go find out, James said, his tone firm yet gentle, urging her not to pull away. Emma hesitated, torn between the comforting presence of James and the looming uncertainty of home. But Sunny. Sunny will be fine, he reassured her, glancing lovingly at the kitten who blinked back at them. We'll take it back to my place and then go to yours together. You don't have to face your mom alone. The thought of James standing beside her gave her strength. She could already picture sweet Sunny nestled in a cozy corner of his home, purring happily. Okay, she said finally, determination pushing her forward. Together, they sprinted back towards the park's exit, rushing past families enjoying the late afternoon sun. As they emerged onto the main street, a sense of urgency pulsed through her. Every step felt charged with potential. Hey, maybe we can just tell your mom about Sunny, James suggested, glancing sideways with a smile. A little cuteness could lighten the mood. Emma nodded slowly. You're right. It's hard to stay mad when there's a kitten around. They reached his house, and after a quick scramble for a spare towel to make a bed for Sunny, they headed out again toward her apartment. Emma felt her heart pounding louder with each passing second, a mix of hope and dread. When they finally approached her building, the familiar gray brick walls loomed larger than life. She could hear faint voices inside, but whether they were angry or just everyday conversations, she couldn't tell. "Ready?" James asked, his hand resting reassuringly on her shoulder. "Not really," Emma admitted, but her resolve was firming up. There was no turning back now. Besides, they had to help Sunny. As she reached for the door handle, a sharp voice from within called out, and Emma winced at its abruptness. Everything inside her froze for a moment. She pushed the door open, facing the chaotic scene of home, scattered papers, a half-finished dinner left on the table, and her mom standing, hands on hips, radiating frustration. "Emma, where have you been?" her mom exclaimed, clearly not ready for the unexpected addition of a kitten. "Mom, wait." Emma started, feeling the weight of the moment, but the tension in the air crackled like electricity as she took another step, a new chapter unfolding with every heartbeat. Would the kitten soothe the storm brewing inside her home, or would secrets unravel with her return? Emma swallowed hard, stepping fully into the space that felt both familiar and foreign, where everything could change in a heartbeat. Emma stepped inside, the warmth of the living room mingling uncomfortably with the cold dread tightening her chest. Her mother's eyes flicked to James, instantly widening with disbelief. "Who is this?" Her mom's voice hardened, as if she was bracing for defiance rather than a comforting surprise. "Mom, this is James." Emma hesitated but pushed the words out. "He's a friend and I brought someone with me." Her hand gently cradled the little creature nestled in her other arm. At the mention of someone, her mom's expression softened slightly, an eyebrow raised in curiosity. Emma could see her hold back a wave of emotions threatening to spill over. It was the same familiar look that once calmed storms at home years before life had grown heavier. Emma revealed Sunny. The tiny kitten, all big eyes and soft fur, peeked out, seemingly oblivious to the tension swirling in the air. She felt a spark of hope as she presented the furry bundle like a peace offering. "Look, Mom. Isn't she adorable?" Emma couldn't help but smile, her relief palpable when she saw her mother's lips twitching into a ghost of a smile. "Where did you get that?" her mom asked, eyeing the kitten with a mix of suspicion and wonder. "I rescued her from the park," Emma replied, the warmth spreading in her chest like a beam of sunlight breaking through clouds. "She really needed our help." James took a step forward, easing the atmosphere with his easygoing demeanor. "Hi, Mrs. Anderson. I thought a little cuteness could lighten the mood. It seems like you might need it right now." "Right now?" Emma's mom shot back, echoing her earlier worry. "You think this little creature is going to fix the mess we're in?" The room shrouded in silence for a moment, the kitten now still in Emma's arms, sensing the gravity of the situation. Emma's previous lightheartedness faltered, knowing her mother's words were rooted in desperation. "Mom," Emma whispered, her heart racing. "That's why I'm here. I want to help." "Help?" Her mom shook her head in disbelief. "You're just a kid. You don't even understand what I..." Her voice trembled, a wave of frustration and worry threatening to consume her. "Stop." Emma found her voice, surprising herself. "Please just listen." The silence that ensued felt heavier than the clutter surrounding them. Emma locked eyes with her mother, desperately trying to bridge the chasm that had grown between them. "I know things are hard. But I want to be here. I care about you," she continued, her heart pounding as she poured emotion into each word. "What is it really that we need to talk about?" Her mom's features softened, a crack in the armor she held around her. The kitten's gentle purring echoed through the room, momentarily filling the stillness. Emma felt a flicker of connection, a possibility that maybe they could truly communicate if she could just break the walls down. "I may have made some decisions," her mother finally admitted, her voice trembling. "Things aren't good, Emma. I just didn't want you to worry." "I want to know," Emma insisted, stepping closer, pleading for clarity and understanding. You don't have to go through this alone. Not anymore. Could this tiny cat be the catalyst for change? Could it bring them back together in a way that felt real? The burden of the conversation still loomed, but Emma felt a new resolve, one that pressed her forward. As her mother inhaled deeply, Emma felt the air thicken with vulnerability. Would the conversation lead them to the answers they both needed? Or would it unearth truths they'd rather avoid? Emma could feel her heart in her throat as the silence stretched on between her and her mom. The weight of the unspoken words clung tightly in the charged atmosphere, almost painful. She kept her focus on her mother's face, searching for a breakthrough, for a glimmer of the warmth they used to share. Soon, her mother began to speak, her gaze dropping slightly as though afraid of the truth hiding in their shared past. I've been spending too much time. Her voice wavered, and Emma could see the rawness behind her mom's eyes. I've spent too much time pretending everything was okay. But it isn't. As those words folded into the air, Emma's hands tightened around the tiny kitten, feeling her warmth that had become a fragile bridge between them. What do you mean? What happened? It's just the bills are piling up. Your father, he hasn't been around. The breakdown came in a rush, her mother inadvertently expressing the chaos they both had been carefully tiptoeing around. Emma swallowed hard, the mention of her father pulling at her heart. Is he okay? Can't we just talk to him? A shaking breath escaped her mom. He's not the same anymore, Emma. It's like we're all just living our own lives instead of together. Her voice cracked, deep pain etched into every syllable. Tears pricked the corners of Emma's eyes as she absorbed her mother's despair. She had sensed the distance but never understood the depths of it. Mom, we can fix this. We just have to face it together. Please, I'm scared, her mother confided, the fissure in her armor shattering. I don't want you to see how badly things have fallen apart. You have your own life. You don't need these burdens. James stepped back, allowing the moment to unfold. He exchanged a glance with Emma, clearly aware that this wasn't a moment for him to intervene. He stood by, supportive and steady, with her heart racing. Emma stepped closer cautiously, almost as though the space between them had defined the severity of the situation. But I want to be here, Mom. You're not alone. Not anymore. Finally, Emma reached out, placing Sunny gently on her mother's lap. The kitten purred loudly, immediately lightening the gravity of the ache radiating in the room. You need to focus on what's good, Emma urged. Sunny is good, just like us. Her mom looked down, the small creature's gentle warmth weaving a thread of intimacy where there had been ice before. She really is precious, she murmured, a hint of a smile curling at the edge of her lips. You always did have a knack for finding light in dark places. So let us keep that light, Mom, Emma said, urgency creeping into her voice. Let us build on it. We can talk through everything. Together. For a moment, the shadows retreated, and there lay the possibility of a bridge finally being built. Emma could sense a change, just the beginnings of hope sprouting from a long fallow field. Her mother hesitated, caught between the fear of what lay buried and the urge to dig it all back up. Finally, her gaze flicked back to Emma, filled with uncertainty. What if we can't? What if it gets worse? No, Emma whispered, resolve settling in her chest like a warm blanket. We tackle it together. One step at a time. But even as Emma said it, a chill coursed through her. What if the answers led them down a path they weren't ready to face? The door creaked open slightly, sending a draft through the room. A passing car's headlights swept across the living room, illuminating Emma and her mother's faces for just an instant. Mom, Emma pressed quietly, can we make a promise? What if we commit to talking about our fears, even the ones we shouldn't? Her mother nodded slowly, uncertainty still dancing in her eyes. As hope mixed with worry, a question loomed between them: was it enough to start anew? As if they were both standing at the brink, ready yet terrified of what the fall might bring. Would the light sustain them, or would it falter in the face of truths they weren't ready to confront? Emma could only wonder, the storm still brewing in their hearts, waiting for the next wave to crash down. The air in the room felt different now, charged with a mixture of cautious hope and lingering dread. Emma leaned closer, the warmth of Sunny's tiny body settling against her palm. She couldn't shake the overwhelming need for connection, the urge to reach deep into the tangled web of their reality and pull out truths even if they hurt. "Let us talk about Dad," Emma suggested, her voice barely above a whisper. Her mother's eyes darted to the floor. "Emma, I don't want to drag you into this. You have your own life. But this is my life too," Emma insisted. "He's still my dad." The words hung in the air, a thread of defiance woven with desperation. With a sigh that held the weight of years, her mom spoke, "You're right. He is, but he's not who he used to be. I've tried to hold it all together, but it feels like we're both losing him a little more each day." Emma watched as her mother's hands twisted the fabric of her shirt, a silent testament to her struggle. At that moment, she realized the towering walls separating them were built on more than just secrets and deception. They were steeped in fear of heartbreak, fear of the unknown, and above all, fear of letting the other down. "Mom, what if we could reach out to him?" Emma's voice brightened as she spoke. "I mean, really reach out. Let us not wait for him to come back to us. We take the first step." Her mom hesitated, looking up. "It's not that simple, Em. What if he doesn't want to talk? What if he is too far gone? But what if he does?" Emma pressed, her heart racing faster with each word. "We can't let him slip away, not like this." For a heartbeat, it seemed her mother might surrender to the idea. Emma felt that flicker of hope, darting to the forefront of her thoughts. Maybe, just maybe, this could be a turning point. "I could send him a message," Emma suggested. "Just to let him know we care. It doesn't have to be complicated." She took a breath, her palms sweaty. "We could even invite him over for dinner. A family meal like we used to have. Just us three. It could break the ice." The thought sent a pang through Emma's chest, a strange mix of excitement and anxiety. What would happen if he actually showed up? Would he even recognize the family they had become in his absence? Her mother chewed on her lip, indecision painted across her face. Finally, she mumbled, "I don't know, Emma. What if he doesn't feel the same way?" "Then we deal with it," Emma said firmly. "Together. I'm not afraid anymore. And you shouldn't be either." They exchanged a look, a fragile connection momentarily igniting the room. Emma felt a weight lift. It wasn't a complete solution, but it was a start. Before her mom could respond, a precise knock echoed from the front door. Emma's heart skipped. "What was that?" she whispered anxiously. I don't know," her mother replied, eyes wide. "It could be anyone." As the knock came again, firmer this time, uncertainty wove through them like an electric current. Emma's hand trembled as she moved slowly toward the door. With each step, her heart raced, anticipation bubbling in her chest. She could feel the walls closing in, the weight of their conversation hanging overhead. Would this be a disruption, or an opportunity? Taking a deep breath, she grasped the doorknob, her mind racing with possible scenarios as she pulled the door open. The figure standing in the doorway was one she never expected to see. Emma's breath caught in her throat, and all the lightness they had just begun to build felt crushed under the reality of the moment. "Dad?" she managed, staring wide-eyed at the man she had long since hoped would return. The look on his face was hard to read. Would he step inside and rebuild their broken family, or would he turn away once more, leaving them stranded at the edge of their fears? Emma stood frozen, one hand gripping the doorknob, the other resting against her chest as if to contain the frantic flutter of her heart. Her father, the man they had been yearning for, was there. It felt surreal. "Emma," he said tentatively, his voice breaking the silence like a thin glass cracking. "I didn't know if you'd." His words trailed off, and for a moment, the world around them faded away. Emma couldn't understand why, after all this time, he looked so worn, like a shadow slipping away into the night. Her mother stepped forward, the breath hitching in her throat. "Dad," Emma repeated, barely above a whisper. "You came back, can I come in?" he asked, eyes darting between Emma and her mother, seeking permission. Her mom seemed to wrestle with herself before nodding slowly. As he took a step inside, Emma felt an urgent mix of excitement and trepidation. This moment was everything they had talked about, but what if it unraveled rather than mended? "Sunny S here," Emma said, suddenly feeling the need to lighten the heavy air. "She can't wait to see you." Her father glanced down, and for a moment, Emma caught a flicker of warmth in his eyes. It vanished quickly, replaced by a shadow of uncertainty. "Is everything all right?" he asked, looking almost apologetic. "Yes, I mean, we're okay," Emma replied, feeling braver by the minute. "But we've been worried about you." The words spilled out, pushing through the barrier of years apart. She wanted him to feel their concern, to understand they still cared, despite his absence. "I didn't want you to worry," he said, his gaze dropping to the floor. "I just needed time to think." "Think about what?" her mother interjected, her voice strong but laced with an edge. "We could have faced this together." Emma watched as her father's shoulders slumped, the weight of her mother's words settling like a storm cloud. "I know," he murmured. "I should have been there. I just didn't know how to." "Dad, we want to help. We're still a family, no matter how broken everything feels." Emma's voice was almost pleading. She stepped forward again, her heart clawing at her chest. "We want you to come to dinner. Like old times." The thought of that meal lit something in her chest, a fragile flicker of hope. She realized how much she missed the laughter they used to share, the stories around the table that painted their lives colorful. Could they really go back? Was it even possible? "I don't want to hurt you again," he said, his voice cracking. He raised his gaze to meet hers, vulnerability etched in every line on his face. "I'm not the same guy you remember." "But we're not the same either," Emma insisted, her composure growing stronger. "We've changed. We can find a way through it together." Her father let out a shaky breath, and for a moment, the tension in the air was palpable. Silence fell, thick and suffocating, as they all stood there, three broken pieces of a puzzle desperately trying to fit together again. "Okay," he finally said, his voice barely more than a whisper. "If you really want me to." Her heart soared at his words. There was a glimmer of hope that hadn't been there before. As he took a hesitant step forward, Emma felt the weight of what lay ahead. This was just the beginning. But what if their past overshadowed their hopes for a fresh start? What if the darkness lingered, overshadowing their tentative connection? Emma felt her breath hitch at the thought. "Just promise me you'll stay," Emma said softly, her eyes searching his. And as he nodded, Emma's heart fluttered with the uncertainty that came with hope. In that moment, she knew they had stepped into something new, but would that be enough to navigate the complexities of their fractured family and bring her father back to the light? Emma's heart beat louder, pounding in her ears as her father stepped fully into the living room. Every unspoken word hung thick in the air, the weight of lost years pressing down on them. Her mother moved to sit on the edge of the couch, her body tense, almost on alert. Emma stayed near the door, half a step away, a bridge between her father's uncertain presence and the home they all once shared. "Let us sit down," her mother said, breaking the silence. "We need to talk." They all settled into the worn-out sofas, the familiar creaks and groans echoing memories of happier times. Emma could almost see the snapshots of past family dinners flashing before her eyes, laughter mixed with the warmth of love filling the room. Today, however, it felt colder, the walls echoing their hesitance. "About dinner," Emma ventured, her voice trembling slightly as she searched her father's eyes for some recognition of the daughter he'd left behind. "You remember how we used to roast marshmallows in the backyard? And the stories you'd tell?" A hint of a smile crossed her father's lips, though it quickly faded as he licked his dry lips. "I remember," he said quietly. "I miss those nights." "Then we should start over," Emma pressed on, feeling a surge of determination. "Let us have dinner tonight, just like we used to. I want to hear about your life, what you've been doing." "I really don't know if it's that simple," he replied, glancing at her mother, who had closed her eyes, as if summoning strength. Dad, please, we can't heal if we don't talk, she urged, her throat tightening with the weight of years lost. I want to understand you. What happened? His gaze softened briefly, but then he seemed to retreat inward, shadows crossing his face. It's complicated, Emma. I don't want to bring you down with my troubles. But we're here for you. Emma almost shouted, her voice ricocheting around the room. You disappearing didn't just hurt you, it hurt us too. We want to face it together. Her father's expression faltered as though her words were scrubbing away layers of his defenses. The struggle within him was palpable, manifesting in the way he tightened his hands around his knees. Finishing a silent battle, he nodded slowly. If you want that dinner, if you think it could really help. The raw vulnerability in his voice caught Emma off guard, leaving her breathless. As her mother looked up, she echoed softly, we can share all of it, the scars included. We can get through it together, but only if you let us in. The air thickened with hope, but the uncertainty still loomed. Emma could feel the power of perhaps they could really rebuild. Okay, her father said, I'll try. I just need you both to understand how hard this is for me. Then let us take it one step at a time, Emma replied, her heart racing as she leaned closer, as if willing their united front to resonate through the room. We can handle whatever comes next. There was a slight stir in her father's eyes, a small shift as a glimmer of something perhaps hope sparked to life. All right, I'll come for dinner. The promise hung, a fragile thread woven with all their fears and hopes. But just as they began to settle into tentative smiles, the doorbell rang, shattering the fragile moment. Emma's heart lodged in her throat. Who could that be? She exchanged quick, worried glances with her father and mother before taking a cautious step toward the door. As her hand reached out, her breath held. Emma couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Behind that door lay another surprise, and her heart raced at what it might unveil. What if this time, the truth would change everything? Emma's hand hesitated on the doorknob. The explosion of hope in the room had felt so fragile. Now, as her heart raced, she feared the signal from that door could swing them back to the darkness they had just begun to escape. Who is it? Her mother asked, anxiety tightening her voice. I don't know, Emma replied, her breath hitching. Let us see, her father said softly, peeling away the hesitation coating the air. The way he always leaned forward to confront anything unknown filled her with warmth. Could it be the bridge they needed? She took a deep breath and swung open the door. Standing on the threshold was a woman Emma barely recognized, a neighbor from a few doors down, holding a basket brimming with fresh-baked cookies. The woman's eyes were kind but uncertain. Hello, Emma. I heard things were tough over here, so I wanted to bring something for your family. Oh. Thank you. Emma exclaimed, surprise brightening her face. She caught a quick glance at her parents, and a smile began to form among all that tension. Hi, Mrs. Miller, her mother said, stepping forward. The warmth behind those words was a breath of fresh air. That's very thoughtful of you. Mrs. Miller glanced between them, reading the air. I just thought sometimes a little kindness can go a long way, you know? And it feels good to share the sweetness when life gets hard. As Mrs. Miller set the basket down on the small coffee table, Emma saw her mother's shoulders relax for the first time that evening. Can we all sit together? I think we could really use it, her mother suggested, her voice softer now. The three of them moved to the couch, feeling the love radiating through a small act of kindness. Emma grasped Sunny tight while they gathered around the table. The kitten seemed to sense the shift, blinking its big green eyes in contentment. Thank you for being here, Mrs. Miller, Emma said again, this time with heartfelt sincerity. Of course. She replied, her smile brightening the room. We're a community. We look out for one another. James stood back, leaning against the wall with an approving smile. He may have been a billionaire and once felt as distant from the town as the clouds, but this moment reminded him that money could not replace the simple magic of connection. Community really does matter, he echoed, looking at Emma stalwartly. Sometimes it reminds us to lift one another when life tries to push us down. Emma took in the scene, the warmth, the laughter in the air, the healing process beginning in small but significant increments. We can build on kindness, can't we? she asked, looking at her parents, brainstorming hope with gentle resolve. That's right. Mrs. Miller nodded, cradling a cookie. When you share a little light, it spreads, doesn't it? Yes. Emma burst out, and her father's expression morphed. I get that now, he said, the weight of realization hanging around him. Intimacy can feel intimidating, but letting others support us, that's where true strength lies. There was silence as they took it all in, the transformative power of vulnerability engulfing them like a gentle wave. With a quick glance at Sunny, cradled against Emma's heart, her mother confessed, perhaps we've all been afraid of shame we hid from each other instead of opening up. But if we can just take an inch forward together, oh, Mom, Emma said, her voice thick with emotion. Can we promise to keep sharing not just during the hard times, but even when we're happy? It was a plea, filled with the innocence that had already woven its way into their lives and the rich tapestry of their story. Absolutely, her father replied, his own heart warming. Even if the road ahead is rocky, we'll stand together. Emma felt like a flame flickering against the darkness, the warmth coaxing her family closer. Then it's settled. It's our new beginning. We take it one step, one cookie, at a time. Laughter erupted, breaking through barriers that had held them captive for so long. And as they settled into easy conversation, sharing stories and bravely stepping through their vulnerabilities, Emma felt more at home than she had in a long time. Suddenly, there was movement at the door again. It swung open to reveal more friends from the neighborhood, cards, balloons, and surprise goodies in hand. Surprise! They chorused, a joyous burst of energy flooding in. The atmosphere shifted with warmth as voices mixed in laughter and chatter, crafting a symphony of community. Emma glanced around, eyes sparkling, heart swelling with pride as realization dawned. They were bound together by love, light, and the courage to face each other's burdens. Today was, like, the best. She exclaimed, throwing her arms around James, then around her parents. Their new life chapter was alive with possibility. Let us make this a weekly thing, James said with enthusiasm. Yes. Emma cheered, and they began suggesting ideas on how to stay connected more often. As the sun began to set, casting its golden hues through the window, Emma felt something new kindling within her unity. Together they embraced a future brighter than any they could have imagined alone. Here's to our new beginnings, Emma called, raising a cookie high in the air. And there, beneath the shelter of shared stories and cradled hopes, they promised to remember the magic found in connection, embracing change with open hearts and open homes. So as you wrap up reading, take a moment to reflect. Isn't it time to reach out to your own community too? You need to subscribe now. Hit that button and don't miss the next exclusive stories coming your way. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Seriously, it makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about this heartwarming ending. And share this video instantly with 5 friends who absolutely need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support. Now's the moment to be a true fan.